Welcome to the Science and Environmental Wrap. In the headlines, a new fossil discovered in the Eastern Cape, and the UN Environment Assembly takes place in Nairobi. Scientists have discovered a treasure trove of plant fossils near Grahamstown in the Eastern Cape. The trove was excavated and discovered in rock debris during road construction along the N2 between Grahamstown and Fish River. It is believed that some of them have been documented by scientists.
What we're finding here, with one exception, every single kind of fossil we've found here, invertebrates which were living in the water, and plants that were falling in, they were living along the banks of the river and washing in, being preserved in the mud. With only a single exception, all the fossils we found here are new species.
Two young South African scientists will attend a Nobel Laureates meeting in Germany. Every year, previous Nobel Laureates converge in Landau. They gather in a bid to meet and inspire the next generation of leading scientists from around the globe.
I think it will inspire us more, like with what we are doing with our current projects. Because meeting Nobel Laureates, it's another thing. Like, I can't even think straight with me being there. I remember that when I grew up, I never imagined myself meeting a Nobel laureate, like a single Nobel laureate.
Yeah.
But in the meeting, we'll meet about 31 Nobel laureates.
Oh my gosh.
And they're all physicists. So I think it's, I don't know how to describe it.
It's like it's a dream come true.
Yeah.
And the United Nations Environment Assembly took place in Nairobi last week. Delegates who included Environment Minister, conservationists and business leaders discussed a host of issues. Environment Minister Edna Molewa says what was discussed at the summit does not reverse what was agreed upon in Paris.
We do think that with the close to 20 agenda items that were here, the resolutions that had to be agreed to, there are several that are quite important. And that, amongst others, is actually the issue of climate change. And in that regard, we do think that what had to be discussed here is not anything that's related to reversing what we agreed upon in Paris, but an implementation of Paris Agreement. And I think up to so far, there has been an agreement to that effect. We are moving forward with implementation. Second thing is the issue about the SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. There was also just toing and froing, which finally came to an end. The SDGs issue is now being finally discussed. I think they are dotting the T's. If we are lucky, we'll have it. Probably not. It's one of the sticky issues, but it's just on one thing, really. We do agree that we need to go forward and implement that. One thing is the issue about money, means of implementation. So there are very important things for us, amongst others being the wildlife crime, not only management, because we were here to discuss the criminal and criminality within our wildlife, that in the species of fishery, in the timber, in all that goes with it. And those are the items that we are going to be dealing with in Johannesburg at the CITES conference. The parties have agreed on those as well. There's been some compromises made, particularly from South Africa's point of view. And Africa, by the way, it's the issue of sustainable use of our natural resources. So that concept has been agreed to, as it is embodied also in one of the SDGs, which we are really going to unpack further in a ministerial meeting that will sit just the day before the actual COP opens in Johannesburg. So we have invited ministers of environment of the world to come specifically to, at a strategic level, to have a discussion on how we embed and embody the issues of wildlife management in general and the issues of separate ones about wildlife crime into the agenda of Sustainable Development Goals, which has got two goals that actually deals with this part.
For more science news, go to www.sabc.co.za/news.